Hello, this is Crystal Racing here with the Portuguese Grand Prix race review and the Crystal score here at the race here at Portimao this weekend. And as you all know, Lewis Hamilton has taken his record-breaking 92nd Grand Prix win. And I must say, with the FIA's and the Liberty Media's constant repeat of their agenda to make racing more entertaining, I think we are never going to see this record broken. Lewis Hamilton is probably going to keep on winning races. And even if he decides to retire at the end of this year, I think the bar he will set this record at will probably be too high for most drivers to reach for many decades to come. Especially with the agenda to make racing closer, more exciting and all that. This could be here for pretty much the rest of our lifetimes. So, whether you like or hate Lewis Hamilton, we better enjoy this moment for many years to come. And of course, I'm going to talk about qualifying. Yes, in practice and in qualifying, Bottas was fastest in almost every session, apart from Q1 when Lewis Hamilton was a tenth faster, and then Bottas set the fastest lap of the entire weekend with a 1 minute 16.466. And had he qualified with the same time in Q3, he would have taken pole position, but he absolutely bottled it, and Lewis Hamilton was the one to take pole. And I've got to say this about Bottas. He is basically what 2017 to 2019 Ferrari would be if they were a driver. They would be Valtteri Bottas. So, to give my crystal score, I've got to give Lewis Hamilton 10 out of 10. He finished 25 seconds ahead of Bottas. Yes, Hamilton had a bit of a slow start to the race with the medium tyres not heating up that well, meaning that he dropped behind Bottas, and then I think he dropped behind Sainz. And then Sainz took the lead on lap 2, led for a couple of laps before, the Mercedes got in front. But once Bottas's tyres fell away, Hamilton overtook him, and we all knew he was going to win the race, and he's almost certainly going to win this championship quite easily. 8 out of 10 for Valtteri Bottas, was fastest most of this weekend until Q3, where he bottled it once again, and in the race he also bottled it. It's the same story now, I don't want to repeat myself anymore. Max Verstappen qualified third, finished third, 8 out of 10. Got involved in a silly incident with Sergio Perez at the start of the race, and he ended up finishing about over half a minute behind, because I will say this, the Red Bull isn't quick enough, but his teammate, on the other hand, I will get onto him much later. Fourth place was Charles Leclerc, 10 out of 10. A fantastic qualifying lap where he was just 4 tenths slower than Hamilton's Mercedes in Q3. What a performance. Jesus wept. One of the qualifying laps of the season. And in the race, he only finished a minute behind Lewis Hamilton. Mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. And all of this in what is probably the 6th or 7th fastest car on the grid, depending on whether, how much you think Leclerc is getting out of that car. And then, of course, 5th place behind him, it's Pierre Gasly. First of the lap runners, but my personal driver of the day, a stunning performance. He started down in 9th, but as the race wore on, he made his way up the order, looked after the tyres magnificently well. Soft, medium, same strategy as Max Verstappen. But boy, oh boy, yes, there was that moment when Perez nearly took him off the road, but then on the following lap, he took him around the outside with a magnificent move. Goodness me, and I know a lot of people will say, Pierre Gasly should get the second Red Bull seat, but I'm going to get on to Alex Albon later on and say who I think should get that seat. 6th place was Carlos Sainz, another great performance, led the first 2 or 3 laps before falling away. 9 out of 10. Absolutely destroyed his teammate today. Just back to his best again. He's had quite a bit of bad luck this season, but he's back to his best form once again. And then, of course, 7th place, Sergio Perez got spun around by Max Verstappen at the start of the race, but made his way through the field incredibly well. made the two-stop strategy work perfectly, but unfortunately his tyres wore off too much towards the end. But, considering he was spun around so early on, he did a very good job looking after the tyres, although he was a bit slow towards the end. But I'm going to give him 9 out of 10 because he did do pretty well in the circumstances. Esteban Ocon, 9 out of 10, finally beats his teammate on merit. First time since the second race at Silverstone. It's been a long time coming. But having said that, though, Ricciardo was quite close towards the end. 8 out of 10 from Ricciardo. Struggled quite a long time on the medium tyres, but eventually caught with his teammate. But I have to say, it wasn't the most impressive race ever from Ricciardo. 10th place was Sebastian Vettel, 7 out of 10. That decision by Ferrari to put him on medium tyres in Q2 was just utter lunacy. Should I give him 8 out of 10? I'm not sure, but you know what? Actually, you know what? I'll give Vettel 8 out of 10 because I think, he's done pretty well-ish. I know he's not happy with getting 1 point in 10th place, but I mean, this is probably one of his best performances of the season, and that's quite frankly not saying much at all. 11th place, and with one beastly opening lap, was Kimi Räikkönen from P16 to P7, and then of course on the second lap he got P6 as well. He got up to P6, made 10 positions up the grid within the first 2 laps, with one of the greatest opening laps we have seen for many, many, many years. That has to be one of the greatest opening laps since, I don't know. It has literally got some serious Ayrton Senna 1993 Donington vibes about that lap. Kimi Räikkönen's anticipation and his feeling for the limit of grip in those damp conditions at the start of the race was utterly expert-like. It was just sublime. Oh my goodness, you only have to rewatch that on board to realise why this guy is a world champion. Sensational. And yes, why we failed to get a point today, I'm going to give him 9 out of 10 because, the soft tyres wore off a bit too very quickly once the track dried up, unfortunately, meaning that he was the first to stop by about 3 laps before everyone else. And then, of course, but having said that, he did finish ahead of Giovinazzi by over half a minute. Destroyed Antonio Giovinazzi today. Not bad for a 41-year-old hobby driver, I may say. And then, of course, it's time for the guy who finished in 12th place. Alexander Albon. Sorry, I nearly mispronounced his name, but at this point I don't feel like I need to know how to pronounce his name anymore because personally I want to see him gone from Formula 1. 2 out of 10 for his utterly yet another abysmal performance today. Now, whilst I will say I want to see this guy gone from Formula 1, he'll probably be demoted back down to the AlphaTauri team because, of course, there's a lot of time money that is invested in this Red Bull team, meaning that Alex Albon will probably get another chance next season at AlphaTauri, replacing Danny Kvyat. But who would I like to see replace him? I would like to see Nico Hülkenberg replace Alex Albon for the last 5 races of this season so that the Red Bull team can actually assess where Nico Hülkenberg is and how he reacts in relation to the handling of this car. Because I can tell you, if Nico Hülkenberg is not good enough, it's better to find out now because I can damn well tell you Albon is not ever getting close to Max Verstappen ever again. His confidence is gone. He spent more than 10 laps stuck behind Kimi Räikkönen, not knowing where to go or where to pass him. Just so tentative, so nervous. To be honest, he looks an awful lot like Pierre Gasly. He's kind of dropped to that level where Pierre Gasly was in his 12 races at Red Bull last year. No confidence, no speed, no nothing. And I will say this about Pierre Gasly is that in Pierre Gasly's 12 races at Red Bull last season, he scored 63 points. In the 12 races he's had with AlphaTauri this season, he's also scored 63 points. So maybe Alex Albon will regain his confidence by moving back down to AlphaTauri again. But for me, it's 2 out of 10 for Albon's performance. 13th place, Lando Norris. Got in that collision with Lance Stroll, completely ruined his race, damaged his car severely. 5 out of 10. I don't really know when it's appropriate to give him more points because, once he had damage, he just dropped down. I didn't really do anything. Whilst the incident was mostly Lance Stroll's fault. I mean, once again, another race goes begging for Lando, so I can't really give any more than that. Sorry, mate. 14th was George Russell, 8 out of 10. Yeah, another great qualifying performance as always, but on Sunday, whilst he was running in the points earlier on, he dropped back and, even against Norris's damaged McLaren, he stood no chance, and I have to say Russell's race pace is still really average, if I'm going to be honest. And unfortunately, it looks like he's increasingly likely to be replaced by Sergio Perez next season. And I have to say, while some Lewis Hamilton fans won't like me saying this, I think Lewis Hamilton should retire now because what else has Lewis Hamilton got to prove? Surely Hamilton has to step aside and allow George Russell to take his seat for next season because, yes, I know George Russell isn't quite up to his maximum potential yet, but it would be far more beneficial to see George Russell in a top running car so that he knows what it's like to be right in the front of the field, fighting with people like Bottas, Verstappen, and someone like maybe Hulkenberg if he gets the Red Bull seat. 15th place, Mr. Anonymous himself, Antonio Giovinazzi, finishing over half a minute behind Kimi Raikkonen. I can only give 5 out of 10 for that because that is not good enough. And for me, I would much rather see Callum Ilott end up in that second Alfa Romeo seat alongside Kimi Raikkonen next season because, next season will probably be Kimi Raikkonen's final season as an F1 driver. And, Robert Schwartzman will probably take over from Kimi Raikkonen for 2022. So I think it's time, Alfa Romeo tell Antonio Giovinazzi to move on, go back to being a test driver at Ferrari where he can spend time, I don't know, playing solitaire by himself during Saturday nights, when he's not inside that simulator. 16th place, Kevin Magnussen, 6 out of 10. 17th place, Romain Grosjean, 4 out of 10. Man, I feel really sorry for the two horse drivers, to be honest, because that car is a dump and they're both going to be out of the seat next season. If I was Lawrence Stroll, I would sign up Kevin Magnussen to the second Aston Martin seat. Tell his son Lance to go to IndyCar racing because Kevin Magnussen, for me, deserves a seat in Formula 1 next season. I mean, he's still only 28 years old. Yes, I know he's done about... I'm trying to think. This is now his 6th year of Formula 1, but seriously, I can't believe for the life of me Kevin Magnussen is going to be forced to leave the sport at the end of this year. He does not deserve to be out of the seat. Seriously, Aston Martin, please tell Lance Stroll to step down. I know Lance Stroll had a very good opening start to this season, but his recent performances have shown him back down on a slide again. Especially with this weekend's disastrous performance, a complete disaster class may I add. And as for Romain Grosjean, I mean, I'm not going to slag him off anymore because this is the end of the road for him. I've got to say his performances have improved massively recently, especially with that P9 finish at the Nürburgring, because for me, Haas have got the worst car on the grid now. It is very clear to see that Haas is the worst car by quite a margin as well, and it's only because of George. And you've only got to realise Latifi is not exactly making the most out of his Williams, and of course Nicholas Latifi finished P18, 5 out of 10. Don't remember what he did, don't care. 19th place at last was Danny Kvyat, 3 out of 10. No pace in the car whatsoever, and I have to say, once again, I have to say it's time for Danny Kvyat to go. Yes, whilst he did have a good response to Pierre Gasly after the Pierre's Monza victory, where he did well to score points at Mugello and finish in front of Pierre Gasly at Sochi. His form has tumbled down again in the past couple of races, and I have to say, Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not sure if Danny Crevier got involved in any incident, but if he did not, he just simply had no pace in the damp conditions today. 3 out of 10, and of course, last but not least, was the only retiree of the race, Lance Stroll, 1 out of 10, hit Max Verstappen in pre-practice 2 with an unnecessary accident. And of course, by the way, though, I will say Max's language on the radio was absolutely disgraceful. I mean, I'm not going to repeat it here because seriously, Max Verstappen really needs a good talking to at this point. But Lance Stroll's performance all weekend deserves reject of the day. Once again, repeated the same incident in the race against Lando Norris, wrecked both of their races. And then, of course, Lance Stroll had to retire because he kept getting all sorts of time penalties for breaching track limits. Because, you know, every time you take Lance Stroll to somewhere he's not comfortable at or he doesn't know, he's out of his depth. And I may add, the reason why I gave Romain Grosjean 4 out of 10 is because he kept breaching track limits and he himself got a 5-second penalty, was Lance Stroll got 10 seconds for breaching track limits. That is abysmal. And, yeah, I'm not... And, of course, on other news, I think... What's it? McLaren are still in 3rd place. I don't know what the championship table looks like. Not that anyone cares, but as far as I know, there is a close fight going on between McLaren, Racing Point and Renault for 3rd place. When I find a championship table, I'll tell you about it. But thanks for watching this video. Please like, subscribe to Crystal Racing, and I'll see you again next time.